nothing. She didn't even say anything. Like, if she went and said something, okay, cool. But like, okay, I've never seen this.
Welcome back to WNBA Hoops TV. Today, we're diving into a story that has basketball fans talking everywhere, because what looked like a routine technical foul suddenly became one of the most controversial officiating moments of Caitlin Clark's 2026 season. For a few tense minutes, Clark appeared to be headed toward a suspension. The Indiana Fever had just defeated the Chicago Sky 90-86. Clark had delivered another spectacular performance, and everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. Then, late in the third quarter, everything changed. Clark was pushed toward the sideline after a play, and as she moved out of bounds, there was contact between her and an official. The referee immediately assessed Clark a technical foul. And that wasn't just another technical. It was her 8th technical foul of the regular season. Under WNBA rules, reaching 8 technical fouls means an automatic 1-game suspension. Suddenly, Clark wasn't simply dealing with a controversial call. She was potentially about to miss Indiana's next game. And that next game was against the New York Liberty. But then something happened that changed the entire story. The footage was reviewed, and according to multiple reports, the WNBA ultimately rescinded the technical foul. Clark would not be suspended. The call was gone. But the question that remained was much bigger. What did the league see when it reviewed the footage that wasn't obvious in the moment? Because the replay appeared to show an important detail. Clark did make contact with the official, but the sequence suggested that Chicago's Natasha Cloud may have bumped Clark immediately beforehand, contributing to the contact. That distinction mattered. And it mattered enormously because the original call had consequences far beyond one free throw or one possession. It could have kept one of the WNBA's biggest stars out of a nationally significant game. So how did we get here? To understand why this moment became such a flashpoint, we have to go back to the game itself. The technical foul was gone, but the controversy was only getting louder. Within hours of the WNBA's decision, the conversation had shifted from, will Caitlin Clark be suspended? To a much bigger question. Why was the call overturned so quickly? The timing was impossible to ignore. Indiana had just defeated Chicago, 90-86, and Clark had delivered one of her strongest performances of the season. She scored 26 points and knocked down 5 of 6 attempts from three-point range. Then, less than 2 hours after the game, the league reversed the technical that would have triggered her suspension. Suddenly, Clark was cleared to play, and the next opponent made that decision even more important. The New York Liberty were waiting. This wasn't just another regular season matchup. Indiana and New York were battling near the top of the standings, making the availability of Clark a major competitive issue. For a player who had just erupted for 26 points, losing her for that game could have dramatically changed the matchup. But the league's reversal didn't simply protect Indiana from a suspension. It also put the spotlight directly on the officials. And with it went the automatic suspension that could have kept Clark out of Indiana's massive matchup with the New York Liberty. The league's decision came after reviewing the incident from Indiana's 90-86 victory over Chicago. Clark had made contact with an official after being forced toward the sideline, but the reviewed footage suggested that contact with Natasha Cloud immediately beforehand contributed to the sequence. The WNBA ultimately rescinded the technical. For Clark, that meant she could play. For Indiana, it meant their star would be available. But for the league, the moment became something much bigger. It became another reminder of how quickly a single whistle can become a national conversation when Caitlin Clark is involved. The irony is that Clark's performance should have been the headline. She had scored 26 points. She had knocked down 5 of 6 three-pointers. And she had helped Indiana secure an important 4-point victory over Chicago. Instead, the final minutes of the game became dominated by one technical foul that would eventually disappear from the record. That is the reality of playing under the kind of spotlight Clark now carries. Every possession is examined, every confrontation is replayed, and every controversial whistle can become a debate far beyond the arena. But there was something particularly significant about this case. The league didn't simply leave the call standing. It reviewed the footage and changed the ruling. That matters because the WNBA has an established process for reviewing certain game incidents after the final whistle. And in this case, that review changed Clark's immediate future. Without the reversal, the 8th technical would have triggered a 1-game suspension. With the reversal, Clark remained eligible. One decision, 2 completely different outcomes. And suddenly, Indiana could prepare for New York with its full-strength backcourt. That next matchup was important for another reason. The Fever were entering a crucial part of their season. New York was right there in the standings. The Liberty were surging. Indiana was trying to establish itself among the league's top teams. And now Clark would be on the floor. The Washington Post described the matchup as a marquee game, with Indiana entering at full strength after the league reversed the technical. That meant the controversy had effectively moved from the disciplinary office back to the basketball court. And that is where Clark ultimately had the opportunity to control the narrative. She couldn't control the original whistle. She couldn't control the replay review. She couldn't control what fans said online. But she could control what happened when the ball went up. That is what makes moments like this so interesting. Professional athletes constantly face situations they cannot control. A bad call, a hard foul, a missed shot, a hostile crowd, a teammate's mistake. The difference between good players and great ones is often what happens next. And the WNBA's decision also exposed something deeper about officiating. The problem wasn't simply whether the technical was right or wrong. The bigger issue was consistency. Fans want to know that the same standard applies regardless of the player, the team, or the moment. That's why the reversal generated so much discussion. Some people saw it as the league correctly fixing an obvious mistake. Others questioned whether the original call should ever have been made. Still others wondered whether the league's decision would have received the same attention if the player involved hadn't been Caitlin Clark. Those questions are difficult to answer without evidence. And there is no basis to claim that the WNBA rescinded the foul because Clark is a star. What is documented is much simpler. The technical was assessed. The potential suspension became a reality under the league's technical foul threshold. The Fever appealed. The WNBA reviewed the footage. And the technical was rescinded. That's the part that can be established. Everything beyond that enters the territory of interpretation. And that's exactly where responsible sports storytelling has to draw the line. There was another important element to the story. Clark wasn't the only person who reacted strongly to the original call. Her coach, Stephanie White, also received a technical while disputing the decision. That showed just how quickly emotions escalated. One play, one whistle, then another technical. And suddenly, an otherwise successful night for Indiana had become a disciplinary story. But once the WNBA reversed Clark's technical, the situation changed again. The league's action effectively acknowledged that the original interpretation did not stand after review. That doesn't mean every controversial call will be reversed. It doesn't mean every technical involving Clark will disappear. And it certainly doesn't erase the larger debate about officiating in women's basketball. But it does demonstrate something important. Replay can change the story. And sometimes, it changes the story dramatically. For Clark, the best possible response was simple. Play basketball. No suspension. No missed game. No technical sitting on her record. Just another opportunity. And perhaps that's the most important takeaway from the entire episode. The controversy may have lasted for days. The replay may have sparked arguments. The original call may have generated headlines. But the game itself was still bigger than the whistle. Clark's 26-point performance was real. Indiana's victory was real. And the WNBA's decision to rescind the technical was real. Everything else is debate. And debates eventually fade. What lasts are the moments players create on the court. That is especially true for Clark, whose professional career has already shown how quickly a single game can become part of a much larger cultural conversation. There is also a lesson here for the league itself. The WNBA is growing. The audience is growing. The scrutiny is growing. And with that growth comes an unavoidable reality. Officials are going to be watched more closely than ever. Every questionable call can be replayed within seconds. Every angle can be shared. Every ruling can be debated by millions of people. That doesn't make officiating easy. It makes the responsibility even greater. Because when a call is wrong, fans want accountability. And when a call is correct, they want consistency. The Clark incident showed both sides of that equation. The original decision created controversy. The review created clarity. And the reversal prevented a suspension that could have significantly affected one of the league's biggest games of the season. In the end, Caitlin Clark didn't need the league to rewrite the entire story. She just needed the correct ruling. And once the footage was reviewed, that's what she got. The technical was rescinded. The suspension disappeared. And the basketball story continued. But perhaps the most interesting part is what happens from here. Because this won't be the last controversial whistle Clark receives. It won't be the last time fans debate an official's decision, and it certainly won't be the last time replay changes the conversation. The difference is that now everyone knows just how quickly a single technical can become something much bigger. A suspension, a headline, a national debate, and then, with a few minutes of review, gone. That's the strange world of modern sports. Sometimes the most important moment isn't the whistle. It's what happens after the whistle. And in Caitlin Clark's case, the replay changed everything. Stories like this remind us that basketball is about much more than points, wins, and losses. It's also about pressure, decisions, accountability, and the moments that can completely change the direction of a game, or even a season. Caitlin Clark's controversial technical foul became a perfect example. What initially looked like an eighth technical and a potential suspension ultimately became a reversal after the WNBA reviewed the footage. Whether you believe the original call was understandable or completely avoidable, one thing is certain: the replay changed the outcome. And as the WNBA continues to grow, these moments will receive more attention than ever. If you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to like, subscribe to WNBA Hoops TV, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the biggest stories in women's basketball. And most importantly, tell us what you think in the comments. Did the WNBA make the right decision by rescinding Caitlin Clark's technical foul? Thanks for watching WNBA Hoops TV. We'll see you in the next documentary. The key to understanding the controversy is what happened in those final moments of the third quarter. Clark was forced toward the sideline. Contact followed, and then Clark made contact with the official. At live speed, the referee interpreted that contact as intentional and issued the technical. But replay provided another angle. According to reporting on the incident, footage suggested that Chicago's Natasha Cloud may have bumped Clark immediately before Clark made contact with the official. That sequence gave the league additional context when reviewing the play. And context matters, because there's a major difference between deliberately approaching an official and making contact, and being knocked or redirected into an official during a chaotic sequence. The replay didn't magically erase what happened. Clark did make contact, but the question was whether the contact deserved to be classified as a technical foul. The league ultimately decided it did not. That decision meant the technical was removed from Clark's record. And because the foul disappeared, so did the suspension. But not everyone saw the reversal the same way. ESPN analyst Monica McNutt publicly expressed reservations about the decision. She referenced her own experience with similar situations and questioned the broader implications of allowing contact with officials to go unpunished. But after examining the footage and discussing the sequence, she ultimately acknowledged that the incident was marginal enough that rescinding the technical was reasonable. Other analysts had different reactions. Andrea Carter reportedly expressed surprise that the technical had been called at all, while Chiny Aguamike supported the league's decision to reverse it. That disagreement tells us something important. This wasn't an obvious situation where everyone watching the replay reached the exact same conclusion. It was a judgment call, and judgment calls are where officiating controversies become complicated. Because fans don't just want to know what the rule says. They want to know whether the rule was applied consistently. And that was the question surrounding Clark. Was the WNBA protecting a star? Or was the league correcting a call that replay showed had been made without enough context? There is no evidence that the league rescinded the technical simply because Clark is Caitlin Clark. What we do know is that the league reviewed the incident, saw additional context in the footage, and reversed the ruling. That distinction is important, because accusations about favoritism are easy to make. Proving them is something completely different.